Hi, my name's Tony Gatman, and this is my wife Vanessa Gatman, and we have three children, our son and two daughters. I met Vanessa when I was at high school, and we've had a long and lovely marriage. Not a perfect marriage, but we thought we'd done pretty well, and with our children we'd done got definitely on the right track. We had no problems with our children, but as you do, always have a few hurdles with bringing up children.
We had already parented our children for quite a while, so coming into Warwick and Trish's course or thinking about it, we had kind of passed quite a few years already. So when we were invited to learn from Warwick and Trish and their program, I guess we had a few doubts about what we could actually learn because we'd already felt that we were a good way down the track in our parenting journey, and we wondered if there was anything else that we could actually glean from somebody else to help us, because by the time your children are approaching teenage years you feel like you've almost got them there. So going into the program, I guess that's where we sat with our thoughts. But once we started the program, we realised that it was a lot more than just about helping our children through their journey in life and growing as people. It was also about us reflecting on ourselves individually as people and our upbringing and the parenting that we had experienced, and also for the two of us to reflect on us as a couple and how we go about things and how we parent together. And so it was a lot more than what we envisaged, and it was a great time to critically reflect on ourselves as people. It kind of goes way deeper than just a set of strategies that you use to parent the children. So
I think too, the thing is you actually have a lot of things at the age that our children were already set in place. But it actually, one thing I really found from the course, that it actually helped give real language and putting really key and very helpful guidelines in place for things that that you just give you that language, I suppose, you could put into that what you have in the back of your mind. And I think one thing Vanessa reminded me too was of when suddenly giving your children ownership of things that are taking place in their lives. And that was something that really was brought to my attention, that, hey, once my 11-year-old daughter, for one instance, when she came back and had done something at school, and then suddenly I thought, well, hey, this is not an issue that I have to deal with, this is an issue that I have to put back onto her and say, hey, well, what are you going to do about this? And there was a few keys and strategies that were opened up to me in this course that I found very helpful.
And I think the keys and strategies are very important. And for me personally, I'm a school teacher, and often you think as a school teacher you have those keys and strategies in place, but actually being a parent and parenting with somebody else and your relationship with your children is actually quite different. And the language, and I think it's the way that you can actually empower your children to take responsibility for who they are and who they're growing into be. So one of the models that we quickly took on was the above the line model, where we were framing a lot of the language in our conversation and sentence starters in the ownership, accountability and responsibility. And then we were also using the below the line language, blame, excuse and deny, to frame our behaviour as well. But I think what it really helped me personally is that it helped me to look beyond the child's behaviour, and it helped me to look at who they are. Because I think when you speak to them, when you speak to their potential and you speak to who they are, and you use the analogy of the iceberg as well, and that behaviours are just the tip, but they're actually right at the bottom of it is what they value and their beliefs. And if you just focus on the tip of that iceberg, you can actually miss out on so much of the person that you're actually parenting, and the values and the beliefs and the core of who they are has to be handled with such sensitivity and care, because restricting your language and your parenting to child behaviours means that you will miss out on so much more with your relationship with your children. So I think that's kind of what I got out of it. Like for example, with our 15-year-old, he didn't show all the, say, behaviours that you would want a child of that age to particularly show, like responsibility. But instead of saying you're not responsible or you're not trustworthy, I started saying you're growing into being a trustworthy young man who is going to be loyal and a great husband. So I started to more or less speak things over him about what I could see that he was becoming, rather than focusing on the misbehaviour. And also the cycle of their life and chunks of their behaviour, and how it's recycled again and how it's revisited. And we could start to see that if we hadn't attended to something earlier in their life, that it was going to rear its head again at some stage.
Which I think is a very positive thing too, because actually if you don't, there are things as parents that you do tend to, you can't have your finger on everything, but there are things that maybe you needed to deal with. If you have like a 5-year-old, and then if you don't deal with certain issues, then it will start reoccurring in their teenage years, and if you don't deal with it, it'll start reoccurring again later on down the track. And I think that is another positive thing to say, hey, we can't have a finger on the pulse with every single thing, but there is a great opportunity to be able to say, hey, here is some keys, and there is a second chance, but there's an ability to be able to come and deal with those things that can reoccur again, and know why it is happening, and then be able to have keys and strategies to deal with those things as they reoccur, if you have missed them earlier on in your parenting.
Because I don't think you don't have to have children who are showing huge problems or having huge struggles in order to go to a parenting program. You can be feeling like you're having great success and things are tracking along quite well, but there's always things that you can learn. And I think the thing that really got me was that when I learned about the different parts of your life that is recycled, I actually realised there were things that hadn't been attended to myself in my life, and they kept rearing their heads. So for me, I think that if you can be teachable and willing to always learn, and you have these precious children in your hands that you're guiding through life, and if you have an opportunity to be able to fine-tune, to understand them and understand yourself and understand each other, then you're only going to become better parents as a result of it. You won't become perfect parents, but it will help you. I mean, in the public sector, people are always going to professional development and things like that in a job that they're probably very successful at, and I think we really underestimate the power of a parent and how much you can really learn about yourself and each other and your parenting, because your children are an investment, and the product of your investment and what the time and the energy and the effort and the love that you put in them will be seen as they grow into adults, and ultimately the kind of parents that they will become, because we're the most powerful example of that. So I guess that would be the advice that I would give to anyone who was considering the Warwick and Trish's parenting program, is that there is always lots that you can learn as a parent, and there's always lots that you can learn personally and as a couple, and that you should never stop, because I don't know anyone who's reached perfection yet. Have you? I'm pretty perfect, but I think that the value of this program, I don't think you can put a value on it. And I think that as parents, we're often pouring money into our children to see them grow academically and personally. And I think that it's well worth investing some money into a program that is actually going to help you become not only better parents, but better people, and that your family will ultimately benefit greatly from investing some money into it. I mean, we put money into so many other things in our lives, but it's interesting how we often don't do it when it comes to parenting, and I think that we need to, because we need to value our roles as parents.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to your children, there is almost nothing that I would value more than being able to speak into my child's life, and for my child to actually say, in years to come, Dad, I'm so grateful, Mum and Dad, for what you've spoken to my life. And I think it's kind of priceless that to put a value on what this course could be worth, in the sense that the keys and the strategies that you can obtain can be almost priceless, in the sense that because this small investment, although it may seem quite a lot now, that in the years to come, as you look back and think, man, I'm so thankful and so grateful to have the words and the language and to actually have the know-how how to invest into my children's life. So further down the track, that they can also take these keys and strategies and invest it into their children's life. So I think it's actually something well worth the investment.